This is the truth about men. There's a whole generation of men who have been raised without being prepared for war. Yep. Because that's what life is. It's a war for resource. It's a war for females. It's a war for attention. It's a war for domination. It's war. And as a man, you have to establish yourself in a hierarchy of men. There is a global hierarchy of men. And there are men out there right now who are born with every genetic advantage, and they're 7'2" NBA players made of muscle, and that's life. And there's men out there who are 5'5" and they're not. But that doesn't make a difference. You still have to find a way to fight and compete. You have to do your best with what you've got. That's it. That's the game. Either or you sit there, jerk off, and cry.
Yeah, and see what most guys don't realize too is that it's not just like, I mean, it's a scarcity, but it's also that you've earned it, right? It's like, you know, one of the things I like to talk about is that I don't want anything I haven't earned, because I tell guys all the time, I'm like, hey, you could take one of my marathon medals off of the wall there, and I'll give it to you, and we'll go in and we'll change the time, we'll change the name so it says your name. It's like, how would you feel about that? Would you like that? And they're like, no, why? And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want that, right? Don't you just want to like have the thing? Like, it's the same thing as if I give you $1 million. So George, just give you $1 million, right? And it's like, oh no, that's different. No, it's the same fucking thing, because the reason why you don't want a marathon medal, like just to have the medal, is because you haven't fucking earned it, because it's meaningless if you have that medal. It's the same thing. You know, guys think that, you know, getting women, getting money, all this shit is going to make them feel better, but not if you haven't earned it. If you haven't earned it, you might enjoy it for a short period of time, but like all of those things, like you said, getting the body, it's all about, because you've put in the fucking work and earned that shit. That's what makes it actually enjoyable.
Absolutely. And these men are, like I said, these men are being raised and they're not prepared for war. They're not prepared. They're not battle ready. And this is what's happened to a whole generation of men. They're literally simply not battle ready. They think life is supposed to be easy. They think their end goal is that they're supposed to be happy. And they don't realize that life is a fight. That's what it is. It's one big battle as a man. And that's how you have to prepare yourself. You can't be sitting there going, why am I not happy? I say this all the time. People say to me, oh, but Tate, when I was talking about the depression thing, they said, oh, but you're happy. I said, I would never describe myself as happy. I'm not unhappy. I'm not happy. The idea of happy, it's not a spectrum that enters my mind. I'm a disciplined individual who does what he knows is right to live the life he wants to live. Happy and sad is completely separate to how my life is organized. Like, I don't see this idea of people constantly being told you need to be happy all the time, no matter what. As soon as you feel a little bit sad, pop this pill. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And America's the worst for this. Everyone over there is taking something. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you wonder why everyone's shooting each other. It's like the whole people, everyone's lost their minds.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Clown world.
It's about, you know, fulfillment rather than happiness is how I look at it. It's like, if you're on your purpose, if you're doing what your mission is in life as a man, if you have some fucking purpose, then you're going to feel fulfilled. In a lot of days, you're going to feel miserable. When I'm training for fucking ultra marathons, pretty much every day is misery. It's not, but it's but I wouldn't give it up. It's the greatest fucking misery that you could possibly have, because you know you're going towards something that most people will never ever fucking accomplish in their life, and that gives you the drive to go forward. You would never want to kill yourself because you're depressed in that case, even though you can be miserable and not depressed, right? I mean, it's like that's what it comes down to. Completely
agree. And this whole, sorry, just one last point on it, but I said something else that got me banned on one of my other Twitter accounts, and it was that suicide is for cowards. And the point I was making is that a lot of these people who kill themselves, you have children. Mm-hmm. I don't care how sad you are. You have kids. Yeah. And let's forget the kids thing for a second. When you come along and say to me, oh, Tate, I'm depressed. I don't want to live anymore, or whatever. Do you have any idea how disrespectful that is to your parents? Mm-hmm. Think of the shit your parents went through to get your ass alive, to feed you, the doctor's appointments, taking your ass to school, waking up, feeding you, the money they had to make, all that shit they went through. So 20 years later, you can say you're sad and jump off a fucking bridge? Do you have any respect for your elders and your ancestors? These are people born without basic respect. They should have too much respect for their last name and their parents to walk around like a moping sack of shit. You have too much respect for the people who worked hard to bring you to life to be acting that way. Childish. These are childish individuals. When I see some next fucking idiot jumped off a bridge, killed himself, whatever, I don't sit there and go, oh, it must have been so hard for him. Oh, Mr. Millionaire rock star killed himself. Must be so hard for him. I just think he's a coward. I think he's a coward. He's a pussy. That's it.
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. Not a popular opinion, but fuck, it's true. It's true. What are you gonna do? Let's hit some of these super chats here. See what some people have to say here. So Ramsey says, having trouble going about my day when I'm hustling. I take 5 minutes off and I go down a shit spiral. How do you go about your day when focused?
You want to answer first or me?
Go for it.
This is another thing where it comes back to motivation and discipline. I want to really stress the difference between those two things. I was a 4-time kickboxing world champion. For 12 years, I trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was motivated to train probably about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I went because I am disciplined. Just like you're talking about your ultra marathon. You don't feel like going through that shit on a Wednesday morning when you wake up, but you have to do it because you're disciplined. You're either a disciplined individual or you are not a disciplined individual. To sit there and say, and I'm going to tell you the truth, Ramsey, a shit spiral, what does that mean? You go on Pornhub or you start clicking on cat videos on YouTube. Like, if you really wanted money, you would not do that. So you don't really want it. There's a difference between want and want. And I say this all the time. People say to me, I want to be rich. And I say, okay, well, I want to be able to ice skate. But I don't want to be able to ice skate enough to go learn how to ice skate because I can't be bothered. I mean, surely if I could click my fingers and be a figure skater, I'd click my fingers. Who wouldn't? But I don't want to actually go train because I don't want it enough. And this is the exact point with money. Everyone wants money put on their lap. If you truly wanted money, you wouldn't be able to sleep until you fucking had it.
Yeah.
And this is the point. So you're saying you go down a shit spiral, then you're not cut out to be rich, my friend. Get a job in Starbucks and piss off. Some people, because when I had nothing, I couldn't be distracted. You couldn't distract me from what I wanted. That's who I am. If I want something, I'm going to get it. So I don't know what more you want me to say. I do not need to be motivated. I'm a disciplined person. If I allocate X amount of time to work, I'm going to do it. Now, I do have, not to do a plug or anything, but on CobraTate.com on my website, I do have like a mental focus resilience training program. So if you do want to go through a program, which I put together, which is going to teach you how to be disciplined, then you can go there and buy it. But that is the bottom line answer. It's discipline. You're going to have to work when you don't feel like working. That's how it's going to have to be, or you're never going to be any.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I tell you guys on this channel all the time that the greatest skill that you can acquire in life is to learn how to work without motivation. And that's what it comes down to. Like, for me, everything in my life is life or death. There's not a single thing that's not life or death. Every single fucking thing, because that's the only way to maintain full control of your life. If you treat some things as optional, and if you can't execute what's up in your head, your will upon your world. In fact, that's what my definition of freedom. My definition of freedom is your ability to execute your will upon the world. And if you can't do it through your own body, you're fucked. You're in the backseat of a car that someone else is driving. That's your life. I want to be in the driver's seat. So the only way I can do that is to make everything life or death. Every single fucking thing. Every single gym session, every workout, every single thing that I need to get done, it has to get done. There's no fucking choice. So
you said it perfect, man. You said it perfect about the mindset. Because one of the only things, Ramsey, listen to me. One of the only things in this world you can control is your state of mind. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't even control your health. You might get a brain hemorrhage, or you might get hit by a bus, or you might get assassinated. One of the very few things in the world you have genuine control over is your state of mind. You decide if you're a disciplined person. You decide if you're a happy person. You decide if you're a depressed person. These are things that in real time you can affect in your brain. This is all you can control on Earth. If you can't control that, then you're just a feather in the wind. And life's going to blow you around, and you might land somewhere good. You might land in dog shit. Nobody knows. So if you're going to be that kind of person, then you're at, like you said it perfectly. You have no will, then you're just at the whims of the earth. Who knows? You're going to watch something on TV, and they're going to tell you something, and you're going to believe it. And you're going to march and hold the sign and blah blah. You're going to be an idiot. Yeah. Your state of mind is what you should be able to control. If you can't wake up and say, today I'm making some money, and actually try your very, very best, and actually stay dedicated to that task. If you can't do that,